All right, James is up. He says, how many GMBs for one business is too many? I have a client who has 3 branded to their name GMB already. They want to get another in another part of the city, good or bad. James, it's okay. All right, so let me remember. There's always an it depends in SEO. How many is too many? I don't think there's anything is too many. But what happens where you can run into problems or where there's danger is if first of all, if you have them all managed or owned under the same account, that's a really bad thing, especially if they're not. I don't know whether they're spammed listings or not. My guess is they're probably not, just because it's harder to verify those now. But if they're in actual, if they're valid business locations, then there's not really a limit to how many you can have. If they're spammed locations, meaning if they are, registered to PO boxes or if they were like the pin drop method and things like, which I don't even know if that works. I don't think that works anymore. Anyway, if they're not actually registered Google business profiles to valid business addresses, then if you have them and you can still get those somehow, I would encourage you to have them owned by different Google accounts. They can be managed by one account. Like you can have the share a manager access to one Google profile and then manage all of them from that. But the primary owner should be separate Google accounts. That way you keep them safe. Okay, number one. Number two, the only time I've experienced a problem with too many, I guess you could call it, GMBs, is when they're too close together in proximity. Because then what happens is like pigeon filter, right? That was it's a proximity filter that was part of what had occurred a few years ago, where if there's two of them that are too close together, one of them will be ghosted. Usually one of them will be ghosted. I guess both of them could be, but generally Google will kind of ghost one of them, which means it's not de-indexed, it's not unpublished, but it won't appear in search or in map search. Which in one of the ways you can determine if a listing is ghosted or not is if it had been appearing in maps, even if it's not in the top 3. Let's just say you search your keyword, it pops them in Google search, and it pops with a 3-pack, and then you click the map or to see more results, right? And then it opens up in Google search with 20. It doesn't actually open up in Google Maps. It opens up in Google, but into the map view where there's like 20 results per page, right? Well, let's say it's in there somewhere on page 1, and it had been, and then all of a sudden it disappears and you can't find it. And you're going through and you're clicking back, page 2, page 3, page 4, and you don't see that GMB anymore. Or that Google business profile anymore. That means but it had been there, right? And all of a sudden it disappeared and you can't find it in the search results. One of the ways you can tell if that's a ghost action is by clicking the zoom button either in or out, just click it out one time out or one time in, whatever, zoom either way in one step, and then zoom it back to its original. And if it reappears, then you know that that's kind of a ghost action from a filter that's being applied. So generally, like I said, if you click zoom in once and then you click zoom back out, and all of a sudden now it's appeared again in the search results, and you can find it, then that means it's being filtered by whatever that filter is. We called it the pigeon filter, but it may have been changed now because of the local update that occurred last year at the end of the year. So anyway, I would that's the only time I would say there's too many, is if they're too close together, especially if it's a service area business. If it's a storefront business, I don't even know that would be an issue because customers come to the store location. But in a service area business where there's a service area, and I've experienced this with my own because I got a little bit too aggressive with tree service stuff in some cities where I'd have them too close together, and then some of them would get ghosted. And that was because of that. It's a proximity filter. So I don't think there's an issue with it. I've never seen a problem with it. As long as they're valid business listings, they can all be owned by the same account. That's fine. If they're spam listings, you want to separate them by Google account. You can still have one manager manage all of them, but you want to have the primary owner as different Google accounts. Okay.